back to another episode of I Hate Golf, It's Awesome. My name is Caleb. He is Mark. We are coming to you, as always, from a very rainy Old English Trail Golf Club in Florence, South Carolina. How are you doing today?
Doing great.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's morning.
Yeah.
We switched it up a little bit.
Yeah, we might have a full rain out today, but we definitely have a rain out to start the morning. So figured we'd go ahead and knock this out before, we've been trying to talk about ways that we can do this kind of during shop hours, because at the end of the day, it makes a long day longer to sit down for 30, 45 minutes and kind of talk about big picture stuff. At least that's my excuse. But no, figured we'd go ahead and get this knocked out. It's been a couple of weeks since we did one. Going to go over the PGA show and just kind of some stuff going on at the course today that we've been doing over the past couple of weeks. But how have you been?
Been okay.
Yeah.
It's been obvious. Well, I was going to say it's been slow, but, we had a great weekend the past weekend because we got some, mid-60s, upper 60s, and then even almost an 80-degree day. And, it's like I was saying, we had some carts down, we got repaired, and if they wouldn't have been repaired on our new fleet, we would have been out of carts both days. So, it's a good weekend. It's fun to see.
Yeah.
Especially in February.
Yeah. Yeah, we had kind of almost a full week, and then, the weekend got really, really nice of warmer weather, and kind of, was hoping that would be continuing throughout the month, but that's turned pretty quickly, and we've got another cold week ahead of us. Seems like hopefully the rain is kind of behind us, but yeah, it's definitely still winter. I was just I went to Florida for the PGA show, but I was back in Florida the beginning of this week as well, and it's like you forget it's like 85 every day, high humidity. You come back, I think it was like 28 when I got back, and I had just left 85 and beautiful. So yeah, there's a reason the snowbirds head south in the winter.
Yeah. So the point is, once the rain quits, just layer up and tee it up, because that's what it is.
Exactly. Well, you were talking yesterday. It wasn't so cold that you couldn't play yesterday, but it was cold enough that you didn't want to. It's like one of the first things you said was, I can't imagine anyone wanting to play today. And because I had played the previous 2 days, I was kind of thinking, well, maybe I could go play today. So yeah, I haven't gotten fully bit by the golf bug, but I've been hitting my new driver really well. So
I forgot about that.
That makes me want to go play.
What are the results?
A lot straighter than before. I went from the triple diamond, which I probably should have never been playing, but everyone wants to play the triple diamond, to the
that's not a once a month I hit it driver.
I'm not playing. A couple years ago that was fine, but I went to the Elite X, which is it helps with my tendencies coming over the top, especially when I don't play a lot. So it helps with that slice. My shot shape is still kind of a fade, but I'm hitting it a lot further, a lot more consistently. When I was down in Florida, I did play at Spessard, and there it's so tight and narrow and everything, and you don't really, on the front nine, you don't get a chance to really even hit driver until you get to the fourth hole. And luckily that's not the hole right next to the trailer park, because I immediately pulled it left. It was the first time I had ever hit it, at least my club, and I just pulled it straight left, but it was in the other fairway, and I played it up to the green. I had a shot at birdie and I missed it. So
well, it's funny because I don't think they like it to be called a trailer park, since it probably costs you $400,000 to own one.
Scale retirement village, whatever they want to call it. It looks like a trailer. It's a nice trailer park, but it's a trailer park. Yeah. So I've hit those trailers before. I was happy I did not hit them again.
I remember one of the first times.
That was the loudest noise I'd ever heard. that home, that mobile home, was probably about 15 yards away, and I smacked the side of it. Yeah, that was not ideal. So yeah, it's been, I've played I played 9 holes in Florida, and then I played another 9 driving back. So I've played a combined 18 holes now, for the first time since probably last summer. I can't even think of the when I went over to Sumter to play, that was a scramble, but I played 18 holes there. That was one of the only times in the fall or winter that I played.
Now, that was the National PGA show in Orlando.
Yep,
you went to before.
Yeah, not this past trip, but the trip before.
This weekend you were down in Melbourne with the golf courses, and then next week you are.
Monday I'll be in Greensboro for the Carolinas PGA show. So
and during that whole time, I think I'm right here answering the phone and doing that stuff.
I gave you a day off yesterday. You're fine. You only had to be here for a few hours, but no. Yes, I appreciate you holding down the fort. It's yes. So
yeah, I'm not sure if I've sworn off swinging a golf club or not after having the big idea 3 months ago. I'm going to go out and start hitting some range balls, and it's like 2 days later, I'm in the hospital with kidney stones, so I'm not sure I want to do that.
Yeah, that didn't work out great the first time. I mean, at this point, you should be fine, but I understand not wanting to risk it. So yeah. But
so you want to tell us about the Orlando trip a little bit?
Yeah. It was, I've gone, there were a couple years in a row there that I didn't go to the PGA show, but, we've been going to the PGA show since I was little, back when you could walk out with 2 giant goodie bags full of free stuff.
Everybody throwing stuff at you.
They don't do that anymore. But, I've gone every year. They didn't have it, I guess it would be 21 for COVID.
Right.
They didn't have it that year, but I've gone every year that we've been here in Florence, and this was by far the biggest show since before COVID. And even before COVID, it was slowly kind of dying off a little bit. Not as many companies showing up. Still a lot of people, but you didn't have all the big equipment brands. You'd have 1 or 2 of them, and then the next year the other 1 or 2 would show up. But this year, pretty much every major equipment brand was there. I can't think of any I missed. All the ball manufacturers were there, all the clothing companies, and if you've ever been to the convention center, the Orange County Convention Center in Orlando, it's a massive building. It's the old building. It's not the newer one that they built, which I guess the newer one's probably 20 years old at this point.
Yeah.
But it's the West Concourse, and it full end to end was just full. There had been years before where they'd kind of closed off sections and they have a food court or something, and it's like, no, this was all the way end to end. They had vendors out there. It was busy. I got there right when it opened on Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't remember which day it was. The first day it opened, and it was the longest it had ever taken me to get inside, actually go through the registration process and get in the doors. It was a lot. But it was good to, walk around, see the brands that we work with and stuff, talk to them about what's coming this year, go through the Callaway booth. Of course, I got my picture of my name on the wall. That's a yearly tradition for me now of all the Callaway staffers. So that's always cool. And I actually had a lounge in the back with free snacks.
Wow.
Yeah. So I took advantage of that. And I looked around and I realized none of these other people back here are Callaway staffers. Everyone was just walking back there getting free stuff. So I felt cool for about 10 seconds. But no, it was, get to see the full lineup. Obviously I'd gone through the fitting for my driver for the Elite, but see the full lineup of the Opus wedges, all the new putters, the AI1 putters and everything. In fact, I haven't even told you this. I think I have some more clubs showing up next week, so
Whoa.
I'm pretty excited about that, considering my putter is about 4 years old at this point. So I'm excited about that, and get to see what the new apparel companies, Puma. Obviously, we've had them in the shop for a couple years now. See what they're coming out with this year. They've got some really, really nice stuff that we're going to be bringing into the shop, and start working with a couple new companies as well. See what we can bring in and offer to our players and members and everyone. So yeah, I'm excited about it. It's kind of overwhelming because that show is so big, and you have all the national people. You have I was able to see some of our reps, but not all of our reps were there, and that's why this coming Monday, going to the Carolinas PGA show, that'll be a chance for me to actually interact with all of our reps.
Right,
You know, the
regional
people,
guys.
the people that are local to us that I call if I need something. So, and it looks to me like the Carolinas PGA show is actually going to be pretty big this year. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, it'll be good to sit down and talk to people, and maybe I'll sneak out and play some golf on the way back if it's not raining.
Maybe, right.
So no, yeah, it was a good trip, and of course had to sneak in a trip to Disney World afterwards. So it's half work, half fun. We had to take Helen Maisie to Disney for the first time. She enjoyed looking up at everything the whole time. So that was pretty fun.
Neat.
But yeah,
good trip.
Yeah, it was good. It feels like it was so long ago now at this point. I guess it's only been 2-3 weeks. So
yeah, and I always felt because used to go all the time. Times when it was really massive, and in fact, after 2 or 3 hours there, you would be like, people are trying to give you no thank you, because you couldn't carry everything.
Yeah.
But that obviously changed dramatically. But I think what I liked about it, it made you feel more connected to golf.
Right.
Because that's what that is golf.
Yeah.
That's the definition of golf. All the manufacturers, all the new ideas, the concepts, and it was just, and the people.
Yeah.
You were around nothing but golf people.
Right.
And you always walked away feeling like, oh, wow, you're kind of a part of this. And it kind of, at some point, it was probably a little inspirational, gave you a little motivation because, hey, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not only just getting to see all the cool new toys and stuff, but yeah, it's like you kind of feel a part of the community, and it's like, golf's kind of a weird, where it's like, yes, golf courses are in competition with each other because they are businesses at the end of the day. But there's a reason that most golf courses, if you work in the golf industry, you tell them when you go in, and they try to take care of you and stuff like that, and to kind of just be a part of that community. And the other thing that we've, or at least I've never been a part of, is the whole other side of the show, which is the PGA side of it, where they have seminars, conferences. I never go out to the demo day that they have at Orange County and stuff like that. But there's a whole other side that's kind of the educational side to it. But not being part of the PGA, and I'll stand. They have the kind of the main stage right when you walk in, kind of on the backside there, and I'll stand there occasionally. I'll listen to people. I remember, I think it was last year, I listened to Gil Hance talk for probably 30-45 minutes. It was, and they offer a lot of stuff like that as well. It's not just go buy stuff or order stuff for next year. It's kind of comprehensive. So yeah, that's pretty neat.
I was, in fact, just thinking about the other day how, because it's been quite a while since I've gone to the PGA show, and maybe even 10 years. I don't know if it's been that long or not, but it could be.
Maybe a little less. I
went once.
Yeah, I think like 2018 area, sometime around there you went.
I went once.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, it's because I was going so long, a lot of the people that I knew, and that's the thing, I got to know a lot of people just because the golf business is a pretty small family, actually. And in fact, I even went and helped at a booth one year for a club manufacturer that I did marketing for and helped design their golf equipment for, and got to know a lot of people. And it was funny. I was thinking, some of the people that I got to know and develop relationships with, it's been so long ago. They were reps at that time, and they've already been CEOs of their companies, and they're retired. That's how long ago it's been. It's fascinating to think about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, you kind of, it is, and, obviously I've been doing this with you for a long time, but, kind of coming here is kind of when I felt a little bit more transition, taking on more responsibility. And it is interesting going back and seeing the same people year after year and, talking to them, not that, best friends in the world, but on a more personal level. You need to ask how things are and stuff like that, not just pleasantries, but actually kind of getting to know people a little bit and stuff like that.
And you know how it is. It's like even with us here, the reps come in. Some of them you develop a closer relationship with others, especially because in the real real world, we're kind of a small account for most of them.
Right.
Even though they have a lot of small accounts and those add up.
Yeah.
And some of them react differently to you, and you develop a different relationship. And it's like, yeah, you get to know them, and it's like,
Yeah.
you know, you can call and check in, and they call and check in, and that's kind of neat.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, we're not obviously we're not a Pinehurst, you know, where they have every vendor possible, but it's like I think the one thing that we have tried to do here is, you know, the brands that we do bring into the pro shop, we've tried to be not loyal saying, you know, we won't do anything else, but, you know, we try to focus, you know, with a couple main accounts and offer what we think is the best in the industry.
Right.
You know, if you want to walk into one of the big box stores and have your pick of every brand, that's fine, but, you know, we have our opinions of what we think is the best, so that's what we want to sell.
Right.
Because, you know, at least for me, that's what I'm going to go out and play. You know,
Right.
I'm not just on staff with Callaway because they give me free clubs. I'm very appreciative, but I was already playing Callaway, so
Right.
that just made sense to me.
Well, it is. It's with the golf equipment. I've always carried the stuff that I think works.
Yep.
It's like, okay, I'm confident in this stuff.
Yep.
So this is what, if you want this equipment, I know it can work for you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like the clothing line. There's so many come and go shirt companies and everything out there, and it's just you find someone, you find a quality rep that's going to support you with quality equipment
Yeah.
and merchandise, and that's what you do. And it's especially if you're a little smaller like we are now. Smaller, it's like we're doing pretty well
Right.
out of a small golf shop,
Right.
and I'm very pleased. And in fact, I think we've surprised a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I think that comes back to providing quality service with the expertise behind it. It's like we know the stuff we're selling.
Yeah.
It's real simple. And we've transitioned out of some stuff too
Yeah.
because it hasn't worked out.
Well, and it's like, and just, you know, to be completely transparent, it's like one of the first brands we brought in was Puma because, you know, I thought what they were doing was really cool and I wanted to try it. And the first year we got the shirts, and the shirts were just kind of okay.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't amazing. I was a little disappointed. So we tried a couple other brands, and, you know, and because of the relationship that I have with that rep, because he's been really good to us and has provided really good service, it's like we brought them back in, and I think their shirts are, one, I think they're the best value, and their quality has gone up
Right.
amazing. You know, you're getting kind of the higher end quality with not lower end price, but kind
Right.
of not
Mid-tier.
that
Yeah.
not that 100+ range that a lot
Right.
of companies get into.
Right.
So, and yeah, and that's the thing about, you know, talking to people at the show, and, you know, what I'm always trying to think about is like, yeah, I see something cool, and what hurts, you know, smaller places like us is you get into order minimums and stuff like
Right.
that, and
Right.
where it's like you have to get 36 of this one color of this one shirt,
Right.
and it's like, that's fine. I understand from their side why they have to do it, because they
Right.
have to make it worth it for them. But if I get this shirt and only a couple people like it, now I'm stuck with 33 shirts.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
that can drastically change what
Right.
we're able to do in a season.
Right.
So that's something we are always having to think about, you know, as far as what sizes to bring in, what different accessories that we can bring in. It's like, I'd love to have one of everything and just bring in whatever, but, you know, we can't be just
Right.
sitting on stuff. And that's
Right.
why we try to, throughout the year, you know, we've been doing this bag sale with Callaway and OGO for the past week or so. We'll probably end that this weekend. Hopefully get some good weather that people can come out. But yeah, you know, taking $60 off of a brand new golf bag, that's not something you're going to find in a big box retailer.
Right.
So
Right.
trying to do more stuff like that, stuff that we're able to do that not only helps us, but, you know, helps people out looking for some new equipment. So yeah. And yeah, you know, to me, the thing with Callaway is, you know, I don't know if I'm supposed to say it, but I'm not going to pretend like every year they have the best of every single kind of club. But the biggest thing to me with Callaway is they are consistently putting out really good products.
Right.
They never have a year where it's like, oh, I really don't like that. It's like there might be some years that I like, you know, the driver of 2 years ago better than this one, or last year's wedges or something like that. But they're consistently, to me, putting out really high-end products.
Right.
That's,
Well, and what I tell people is like, there might be other things that are trending from time to time, but the reality with Callaway, with what they do, is you're not going to get better than what they have.
Right.
You might have a different preference, and that's fine, but it's just offering a product, equipment that it's like, okay, you don't like that, you like that better over there better, and that's fine. It's not like there's a gap in comparison ever with Callaway stuff, and I think that's probably the biggest reason I like Callaway stuff, because years ago I was on the Callaway staff a couple of times.
We still have your staff bag in the shop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can look at the bag and you know how long ago it was. It's kind of fun because I never used my staff bags because they were a nightmare. It's just just like with the Puma shirts. I love the Puma shirts because it's a high quality, but it's a great fit for a golfer.
Yeah.
That's what I look for.
Yeah.
And we had some shirts in here that it's like the cut was like odd, and it's just, it's like, it's just, when you find a shirt that has a quality cut to it, that means a lot. It's like you can put it on and it's comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, and it sounds like we're just kind of selling the products that we have, which we are a little bit, but it's like, to me, it's like I really kind of believe everything that we're saying.
Right. There's a reason we end up with those products.
Yeah, and it's like if we have something that's consistently not working, you'll eventually see it move its way out of the shop. It's like we might have to sit on it for a little bit, but eventually, we're gonna try something else and try to figure out what can we bring in that we're excited about and that people respond to.
Right.
That's that's the biggest thing. That's what I'm looking at when I go to these shows. It's like I have the things that I personally really like, but I have to think about how are other people going to respond to it.
Right.
If I just put everything that I like in the shop, I don't know
It'll
how
be there
well
a long time.
Yeah, I don't know how well that. I'd get some cool stuff, but I don't think it would work out business wise, which is unfortunate. But no, yeah, it's always it kind of a lot of people talk about, well, it feels like the golf season starts when the Masters starts. To me, the golf season starts when the show's over.
Right.
That's kind of our kickoff. And it's like make it through those first couple months of winter, get back, kind of be more excited about projects, start doing stuff on the course, follow up with, everyone that you talk to down there, get orders put in, stuff like that. So no, I'm excited. It's been a couple weeks now, but I'm still really excited, and I'm excited to go to Greensboro on Monday and, like I said, hopefully play some golf. So
but just take a couple of minutes. Don't want to go too long, because everyone's always asking, so what's the next project on the golf course going to be? Is there a focus? I know we've had some issues you've already been dealing with that are critical on the golf course.
Yeah. Yeah, this past week was actually really productive in one of kind of our biggest areas of need, and that's drainage, specifically around greens. We had a drain on number 9 that was basically completely blocked. I posted it on Instagram when I actually was able to get it unblocked. And because of a lot of the work that we've been doing to clear around the areas of the ponds and low areas, it was easy to get it fixed once we were able to do all the hard work to get everything cleared out. Unfortunately, not every green is like that, but we were able to get that cleared, so that will fix pretty much all of our issues with number 9. That low spot kind of on the back right side was holding water, but when I was able to get that drain open and released, the whole green was holding water. You were just seeing it more noticeably in the lower spots.
Right.
So that will be a huge benefit, because that started happening in this past fall. It's kind of started slowly building up, but the way it was blocked, it's been holding water for a very long time, possibly more than a year, and that's just something got in the way of the drain, something shifted around the pond. A lot of our greens that are around ponds, the drainage does go into the pond.
Right.
Number 6, I've got that located, but I haven't actually gone down and physically.
You snorkel.
It's basically it's 4 or 5 feet out into the pond, so we're going to have to kind of shift that around, make it work a little bit better. I don't think there's anything actually blocking it, but because of the levels that the pond can get to, that will cause some issues there. Number 7, we were able to clear out the drain there. That's just a case of it had been fixed once before. It had kind of gotten grown over. It's kind of off to the side in the trees.
That duct tape wears out, doesn't it?
Yeah, that crush pipe and duct tape kind of wears thin. So we were able to get that taken care of. And there's some other spots. This is something we had done. I don't remember if it was last winter or the winter before. Done to number 10. We saw a huge dramatic impact, and so getting this done around 9, 7, 6. 13 is one that's eluding me a little bit. That's one I'm trying to figure out and that's, again, that goes back to something I've talked about a lot, is it's really, there's a whole golf course under the ground out here. And it's like through the irrigation system, through the drainage, and that's really the heart of the golf course and the health of our turf. And not having diagrams of everything makes it very, very difficult to kind of get things done.
Find stuff.
So it's a lot of, literally, I have a 4-foot probe. It's a lot of, well, that looks like a low spot. Let's start sticking it in the ground. We had a little bit of irrigation work we had to do on 18. Wanted to get that done. That's another case of I guess I've stared at the ground long enough that I was able to see where the water lines. Some are more obvious. Over time they start to sink a little bit. But there was one where I was just I just hoped, and I stuck it in the ground and I found it. So that's.
Well, the nice thing about it, stuff that was repaired years ago was typically done wrong, so it's easier to find. If they had done it properly, you wouldn't be able to find it.
Although if they had done it properly, we probably wouldn't have to find it.
Exactly. This is a great time for a PSA about the greens. Be a great time to. This is one of the reasons we ask you to keep the carts away from the green areas, right, and the fringes and the whole area around the greens and the traps, because that weight is a constant stress on the systems that have been designed to keep the greens irrigated, including the heads that get broken, people driving it. And it's like, that's within 10 feet of a green.
Yes.
And it's just, folks, just take those extra steps, get healthy, enjoy life, listen to the birds chirp when you're walking up to the green with your putter. Gives you more time to convince yourself you're going to make that putt when you're probably not, but it gives you more enjoyment. So just do us a favor, and every golf course out there, do every golf course a favor. It's not just us. Keep the carts away from the green. It's just real simple.
Yeah. There's not a rule or restriction that we have, and I don't think we have a ton of them, that doesn't have a reason behind it. And not just like because we said so. It's like there's actual reasons for this.
Right.
And like you're saying, it's like the additional weight that carts around the green, it's different than in the fairways where, we don't have any signs out here, but you can go to golf courses everywhere and you'll have a sign that says scatter, because the fairway's a lot wider. Not everyone's going to drive the same path, but everyone seems to find the same place to drive, right around greens and right around tee boxes. And over time that starts to wear down, and what's going to happen when your ball ends up there and it's all matted down. You're going to think, why is this matted down? It's like, oh, that's why.
Yeah. Well, and it's true. It's like I've always told people, there's a good reason for every rule. We just don't make rules for it. We're not that traditionalist that's like, here's the rule. It's the rule is there to help something along the way.
Right.
And our rules have changed.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like when we first got here, our rule was, hey, no empty whiskey bottles in the parking lot. But we don't have to have that rule anymore. It kind of fixed itself as we transition. So, it's like, joke about that stuff, but it's like when we give you a request when you check in about cart traffic or something like that, it's real simple stuff. Just help us take care of the golf course.
Yeah. Ooh, that was lightning.
Flash, I saw it.
I didn't know there was going to be lightning this morning.
Either that or a paparazzi at the window.
But no, that's kind of, drainage, irrigation. That's the stuff that we've been trying to knock out before we get into the spring. We did a treatment on the greens to take care of the little bit of PO that was popping up. That's pretty much all gone by this point. It's either gone or it's on its way out. So that's good to see. We'll be ready for the spring, and I've already got some fertilizer lined up. As soon as we start to get some consistently warm weather, doesn't mean one day in the 80s. Why isn't everything green? It's when we get into those consistent overnights in the high 50s, low 60s. That's when things start to pop a little bit. But yeah, just more work, kind of clearing, low areas. I've gone around the golf course over kind of the course of the past couple weeks, and I've trimmed down all the long grass areas, to thin those out. That's still areas that we'll be allowing to grow up a little bit more, but we'll try to keep them semi-maintained a little bit more to keep them thinner. It's areas off to the side. The biggest areas that people I think are probably worried about is like between 3 and 4, but we'll maintain those more than we will it's the right side of the 5th tee box, places that don't really come into play at all. And a lot of that's aesthetics for us and how we want to present the golf course and what we're going for, and a lot of it's labor as well. It's like that's just the reality of we have a lot of acreage that we have to maintain, and we want to be able to put our focus into greens, tee boxes, fairways, traps, more so than what's the backside of the 5 tee box look like. That's it works hand in hand with what we're trying to do and what we're trying to present in the golf course.
And I always tell people, you're going to have at least a half of a football field to land your ball.
Well, and it's funny. It's like you go through there and it's like, place like 3 and 4, I don't have to worry about it, but I'm worried about running over a golf ball along 14 and it getting sent out into the road or something like that, and I don't find a lot of golf balls. It's like I think it's kind of like an object permanence kind of thing that people hit their golf ball, they don't know where to look, so they see the tall grass and they assume, well, it's in the tall grass. And it's like, it might be, it might not be. It's probably not, because I've even caught myself doing that sometimes. It's like you see it go trickle off to the woods, you assume, well, I can't find that, that's in the woods, and it's like, maybe not.
Well, and I've preached this for years. Every time someone hits a bad shot, they're mad, and they usually don't watch where it goes. So they're, and in fact, traditionally, golfers are looking 20 yards in front of where their ball is because they think they hit it further. So there's two things right there that that's probably why you're not finding your golf ball.
I think that's a lot of it, but yeah, spending that time over the past couple weeks just getting everything knocked out. I think there's still one area on 18 I didn't get to yet, but I'll get to as soon as it dries out, which might be a couple days at this point. But yeah, that's the big stuff, that just trying to get done before spring. I posted yesterday that the Tuesday night scramble is going to be back on March 11th. It's the first Tuesday after daylight savings. So yeah, that'll be at 5:30, 3 or 4 player teams. I've got all the sign up info online. You can always call the shop as well. We're gonna set a cutoff, like you have to call in by 5:29.
And the problem is because we feed everyone too. It's like whatever it costs you get to eat in that too. So we have to kind of juggle. We have to have at least a good ballpark of who's going to be here. That's really the only issue. I mean, we can put teams together at the last minute. And we might have it, here's a deadline, and if you can sign up past that, but I can't guarantee I can feed you. So that's probably what we'll do. Yeah,
I'll put out, we still have a couple weeks before then. I'll put out more info as we get kind of closer to that. But yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and get that date out there. I know some people have been asking about that, especially when we had the nicer weather. People were asking about that. So yeah, that'll be good to get that started back. It's hard to believe we're almost in March.
And we'll start doing our Saturday morning 9-hole scramble too for everyone that wants to play. You can bring your team. We can pair you up. We usually start at 9 o'clock as soon as the weather breaks, and it's what happens is you pay for the 9. If you want to go ahead and play the second 9 with your buddies, you can do that too. And then we give you kind of like a a bargain price for doing it.
Yeah. It's a good way to get out there, especially if you have Saturday afternoon plans. You just want to get out there for a quick 9, but you want to play with some people. So that's fun. That was something I was able to play in last year more than the Tuesday night. So I had fun doing that. That's about all I can think of right now.
I think it's enough.
I think the coffee's hitting me a little bit. I feel like I'm talking more or faster. My heart's racing a little bit. I don't usually have coffee at 5:30 when we do these, so yeah, I think we'll go ahead and get out of here. And it looks like the rain has temporarily stopped. Hopefully, it clears up and we have a good. What's today? Thursday. Yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah. Hopefully, we have a good weekend. So yeah. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. I'll post all the links in the description below. I just totally blanked on how to end this, but I'm just going to keep rolling with it. Like I said, the coffee's hitting me. So my name's Caleb. He's Mark. And thank you for listening to another episode of I Hate Golf. It's awesome. We'll see you next time. Bye.